Hello. I got this at Winco. That, friends, is what we call a cold open. I want to tell you a spooky story. Spooky story! Ooh, I have so many of them. However, this one is the supernatural kind of spookies. If you don't believe in ghosts, you should probably go away. Or you can stay. I'll convince you. I mean, I won't, but like, I was there for everything that was happening, and I'm gonna tell it to you how it happened to me. Once upon a time, I was in high school, believe it or not, and I was a freshman. I was also one of those, a high schooler and a freshman. Crazy how that works out. Anyways, I was in a play. I'm pretty sure it was I'm pretty sure it was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. I played Marcy, which was a character that was added to the show. I did get to dye my hair black though, so it was a good time. So, after rehearsal, me and a few other hooligans who were seniors at the time decided to bebop into the auditorium, not the auditorium, yes, the auditorium. That place, the theater, with the seats and the stage. Bebop in there after everybody had left. I'm pretty sure it's called sneaking, but bebop sounds better. Anyways, we bebopped onto the stage and we all like held hands because there was this rumor that a janitor named Ernie or Bernie or Ernest or something, his name never stuck with me, but it was a name. This janitor had died in the theater and was haunting it. Every theater has its ghost and you know it. Anyways, our ghost, for the sake of the story, we will call Ernie, was supposedly a janitor who was up on the catwalk and the catwalk failed and he fell to his death. So we decided to try and make contact. I have no idea if this was a hazing ritual for the freshmen of the group, but I went with it anyway. We had one person like doing the calling outs and like, if you're here, give us a sign. Talk to me. And we were all just kind of sitting there, like breathing, kind of looking at each other, and you know, one kid started shaking and sweating really bad, so that was awkward. We're all just kind of sitting there in the quiet, and one of us says, "It feels really cold here," and the two people next to him like, "Oh my god, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want anybody to think that I was like faking it or something. Oh my god, it's so cold right here. I feel like something's moving." So everybody started having like their ghosty goo kind of experiences. And that kid who was shaking and sweaty, he like started going pale, which was really uncomfortable for everyone. We were like, maybe let's go. Let's go to something else. Then the prop table that had all the props that we were using for the musical that we had been rehearsing a few hours earlier, stuff started falling and or flying off the prop table because a few things landed in places that they could not have landed. And everybody just stood up and started running. Out, gone. Except for me, because I, ever the skeptic, was like, no. These seniors are simply trying to haze me, and I will not stand for it. So I decided I was going to stand up very calmly, very collectedly, and walk my trembling body out to the hallway. And as I was walking through, I got this very distinct this very, very overwhelming feeling that there was something behind me. And then it felt like I was sucked out of my body, and I could see myself like from behind, and it was like I was seeing myself through the eyes of something that was behind me, and it was mean and not nice, and it was like rushing me. And at that point I broke. I was like, wait for me, I'm gonna die. Anyways, we get to the detention room, right? Okay, you following? And we're all freaking out and all the lights are coming on because they're all motion activated. And that one kid who was shaking and pale, like it gets worse. He looks like he's about to throw up. And I almost feel bad for how I was acting, because this guy was known to be kind of a joker, a prankster. Like he would make jokes at other people's expense, and he would try to make other people look stupid. It was like shaking, and it was very convincing. But I was like, get it together, my guy. But everyone else seemed really concerned for him. Lo and behold, our theater teacher and director pops around the corner. He's like, "What the hell are you guys still doing in the school?" And we were like, "A seance, obviously." And he was like, "Go home, all of you, just go home." We all piled into our respective cars. I was in the car with some of my older sister's friends. My older sister was not present, but some of my older sister's friends, and they drove me home, and I was like, I don't want to get out of the car. And they were like, "We are not walking you to the door. We're just as scared of the outside right now as you are." And I was like, but it's like 11 o'clock at night. Doesn't anybody want to walk me to the door? And they were like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, cool." So I jumped from the truck to my grasp, because for some reason I was convinced that as soon as I got to home base I was safe. Whatever it was would have had to like snatch me out of the air, which like in hindsight it totally could have done. But I jumped onto the grass and I booked it to my door, and they didn't even wait for me to get inside. They like peeled out as soon as my foot left the truck. Anyways, I went inside and my parents were like, oh, rehearsal seems to have run long. And I was like, yeah, it did. Her rehearsal ran long. Anyways, I'm gonna go to bed, and I slept with my Bible that night. It didn't help because it followed me for years, but that's another story for another day. Hey, you. Yeah, no, I'm kind of close. Are you close? Who's close? Is it me? I feel like we'll call it a draw. Anyways, since you're still here, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.